Well, 2 days, we're
Yeah.
just in our tennis skirts, so it's a little bit hard. But uh, the energy's really good. The leadership is good. When you have a lot of guys back, some of these basic installs, the communication comes back pretty quick to them. They're knocking off the rust in terms of eye discipline and alignments and pad level and some of those things that you'd expect early, but the communication is there. We're much farther along, and it's only been 2 days from where we were last year, so that's always a good thing. It's good to see that the young guys come in and ready to compete. They work hard. They listen. Obviously, there's a lot of corrections to be made in that regard, but we'll get there.
I'm sure a lot of that being farther along has to do with bringing a ton of guys back. Defensive line was one where you weren't going to, but you moved Josh inside and you have Phil. What does it mean to get Phil back for another year for that D-line?
Well, it was funny. The first day on Tuesday, we looked out there and it's like, oh, that's a good looking front. When you have Josh and Q and Phil in there, I mean, it doesn't look like we're missing a beat. It kind of looked just, shapes are a little bit different, but it's kind of like having TJ and Calvin in there. So really, really excited about that. And we've got some guys behind that are going to push and compete. So no, I think everybody's, those were obviously the two spots. Those two anchor ends were the ones that we got to replace, and we're excited about who's there. We know what Josh brings to the table. He brings a twitch and an athleticism to that position that we haven't necessarily had that body type there before. Maybe just a little bit smaller. So we'll have to do some things maybe a little bit different. But he's so strong that he can handle it.
What's the adjustment been like for Jared moving inside?
Well, it's only day number 2. And so there's a lot of moving pieces, especially against our offense. Everybody knows what kind of run game our offense can present, and so to be an inside backer and have all those things back and forth in front of your face and learning, he knows the defense, but not from an inside backer. So that's been a learning curve, but it'll be a process. But he's been receptive to it, and body type wise, I think it really fits him.
What was the thought process behind that move to go from outside to in?
Well, we've always sort of had those discussions, just because of what his body type is, and what he could be, in there, and he's actually played that position probably more throughout his football playing career than outside even. So, there's a comfort level for him. He was excited about the opportunity, and everybody knows about sort of the 3 juniors that we have, but we're looking in this league. That's a big physical league. You need those guys to be able to last. And you're going to need 4 guys. You're going to need 5 guys inside. And so, we need a guy like Bembry and a guy like Jared to elevate. So, we need at least 4 going in. So it'll be interesting to see, competition in the battle there, to see who rises. Again, we're just in helmets, so it's hard to tell. You're kind of absorbing blockers in the run game a little bit, but we'll know a lot more come Saturday. When you put some shoulder pads on and see who really wants to use their hands and strike.
Who are some of the guys that you're working in behind Boogie now that you moved Jared inside?
Katie. So Katie's right now working with the 2s, and really, again, he's one that showed us a lot last year in terms of athleticism and twitch, and obviously, JJ there into the boundary behind Jordan Wright. So we got a couple of big, long, athletic bodies into the boundary. 2 guys to the field, and Boogie and KD that can really go. They understand space. They can make plays in space, and they present a issue to offenses in terms of, okay, are they going to slide to the field, or are they going to put it back on an outside backer and their protections, and give us a chance to go win some one-on-ones out there.
We've seen like clips here and there of Kelvin Joseph, but what does he do for y'all on a practice field? What's he like out there?
He's athletic. We all know he's a big athletic body. He's smooth. He can transition. And obviously he's going through the process these first 2 days in terms of learning and making all the checks, and but he's got some natural football instinct. I think a lot of people don't understand. They get hung up on the combine, they get hung up on summer camps and this and that, and it's not just height, weight, and speed. Now that's an important piece of it, but football IQ and football instinct and just having a natural awareness about, all right, splits and receivers, and hey, what's the receiver's demeanor? Hey, how am I going to fool with the quarterback just by how I'm tilting my stance or my head or giving them a look here? So when you get to that level, you know, you're going to be able to make a lot of plays, and then you add on the athleticism piece, and you got a chance to have a pretty good playmaker out there.
Did he fully take advantage of kind of his year sitting out? And what kind of things did he do to kind of put himself in a position to be ready to go here?
Yeah, I think he did. I tell you what, it's always interesting, those guys that have to sit out. You see the burn and the fire. You know, they realize how important football is to them when they're not playing, because they've always just played. They played in middle school, they played in high school, they played, you know, he at LSU, he played it, you know, as a freshman at LSU. And then you come in and then you get sort of football taken away from you, and you realize how important it is. And if you, in, you know, 2 or 3 or whatever years, you don't want that thing taken away from you, you don't want it to end, then you're going to have to elevate and you're going to have to push. And he's been good, you know, in that regard in terms of work ethic.
Okay, folks, thank you very much.